With the conference finals over and the Mavs and Celtics advancing, the NBA Finals are set. There's a lot of storylines. However, none so big as Kyrie Irving returning to Boston. Irving has been with the Mavs for a year and a half, but before his time in Dallas and Brooklyn, he played for the Celtics for 2 seasons. They were not good times for the Celtics as they failed to meet expectations during Irving's time with Boston. The Duke product played 2 seasons for the Celtics before leaving and joining forces with Kevin Durant in Brooklyn to play for the Nets. The Celtics, they fell in the conference finals to LeBron and the Cavs in 2018 and then fizzled early in the playoffs the next season to the Bucks. In the offseason of 2017, the Celtics were coming off a great season, but had just lost to the Cavs in the conference finals. Boston had the cap space to facilitate a trade or sign 2 max free agents. They also had the picks from their trade with the Nets back in 2013. In Cleveland, things were not going so well. Despite winning a title in 2016 thanks to Irving's game-winning shot in Game 7 over the 73-9 Warriors, things were not great in Cleveland. The reason for it was because the Cavs had just been gentlemen swept by the superior Warriors, and LeBron wanted more help around him. But out of the blue, Irving wanted to be traded and no longer wanted to be LeBron's sidekick. James was furious but could not change Irving's decision. The Cavs tried to keep him in Cleveland and even tried to keep up with the Warriors by trying to acquire guys like Jimmy Butler and Paul George. But Irving's decision was final and he wanted out. Because of this, the Celtics saw an opportunity and made the move to acquire the former top pick. The Celtics had a great point guard already led by Isaiah Thomas, who almost averaged 30 points the season before. But the Celtics saw the injury he had been dealing with and wanted to move on before it was too late. So in the offseason of 2017, the Celtics pulled a blockbuster trade with the Cavs to acquire Kyrie Irving. They sent the Cavs Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, another player, and 2 draft picks. The Celtics had just signed All-Star forward Gordon Hayward as well to a massive deal. The Celtics thought they were getting the better of the deal and getting the services of the premier point guard in the league. But that was not really the case. Irving played somewhat well in his first season, but he ended up missing most of the year with a knee injury that caused him to miss the entire playoffs. Not to mention they also lost Gordon Hayward for the season after he fractured his ankle in the first game of the season versus the Cavs. However, that season the Celtics played well despite no Irving and Hayward. They ended up winning 55 games and claiming the 2 seed in the East. They were led by the young bloods such as 3rd pick Jason Tatum and their 2nd-year guard Jaylen Brown, who they took with a 3rd pick the year before. But once again, for the 2nd straight year, the Celtics fell to the Cavs in the conference finals in 7 games, despite leading 2-0 early in the series. However, despite the loss, the Celtics were getting back both Irving and Hayward. And besides, LeBron James, been the Celtics' Achilles heel the last few years, had just left the East for the West as he had signed with the Lakers. But with high expectations came the downfall of the Celtics. That season, the Celtics were somewhat of a disappointment. They failed to win 55 games in 2019 and only 44 games, which was good enough for the 4th seed. They took down the Pacers in the first round, but were eventually gentlemen swept by a much better Bucks team. There was much friction in the Celtics locker room and many blamed Irving for that. It was also reported that Irving clashed with the coaching staff as well as his teammates. Right before the 2018 season began, Irving would be a free agent the next season and told the fans that if they wanted him back, he would re-up with the Celtics. But that did not happen. And Irving became a free agent in the summer of 2019, which ended up being the biggest free agency to date in the association. Instead of re-signing with the Celtics, he ended up joining forces with KD in Brooklyn and signed a 4-year deal with the Nets. Things did not go so great in Brooklyn for Irving either, as he was covered with controversy and disappointing finishes. He missed most of his first season with injury. His 2nd season in Brooklyn was arguably his best, with the Nets as they almost made it to the finals, but they lost to the eventual champions, the Bucks, in 7 games in the semi-conference finals. They led most of the series and also led most of Game 7 as well, but could not close it out. He missed the start of his 3rd season as he did not take the COVID vaccine he was required to take and missed a huge chunk of the season as well. But eventually the Nets lifted his ban, allowing him to return. In his final season with the Nets, according to sources, Irving and Durant forced the Nets to fire former head coach Steve Nash. However, that was not the biggest controversy that season with Irving. In October of 2022, the 8-time All-Star liked and retweeted a controversial movie that was against the Jews. The NBA then took action and suspended Irving for a month. They allowed him to return to play, but he first needed to show the league that he had learned his lesson. After a few months, Irving and the Nets agreed that his time with the franchise was nearing an end. He told the franchise that it was his wish to be traded. His wish was granted and he was dealt to the Mavs at the deadline last February. The Mavs gave Irving a fresh new start. It did not start well for Irving and the Mavs, though. They ended up having a losing record when Doncic and Irving were on the floor together. They ended up missing the playoffs completely and not even making the in-season tournament, despite having a winning record when they made the move to acquire Irving at the deadline. Many were questioning the Mavericks and thought they made the wrong move. However, like all successful things, it takes time. The Mavs did a complete 180 the next season and returned to the postseason. They locked in the 5th seed and took down the Clippers, the top-seeded Thunder, and shocked the T-Wolves to make the finals for the first time since 2011. Irving played well this postseason and has been averaging 23 points, 5 assists, and is shooting 42% from beyond the arc. Even though he did not make the All-Star game this past season, he showed everyone why the Mavs made the move to trade for him and was once again looking like his old self when he was with the Cavs. But we can't end the video by not mentioning when Irving stomped on Lucky, or when Irving mazed the Celtics arena the first time he returned to the Garden as an opponent. Irving is not well liked in Boston, and it'll be interesting to see how he reacts when he hears the boos. When he is with the Nets and stomped on Lucky, a Celtic fan threw a bottle at Irving. This is how much disgust the Celtics have for Irving. It will be entertaining to watch and see who comes up on top. Let me know what you think of Irving in the comments. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more amazing content.